By this point we've wandered through the history, the numbers, the court cases, and the reality inside the UK. So the last question is the simplest one. Is the ECHR actually doing anything useful for us? Or is it just a nuisance? First, the quiet stuff the ECHR does that barely gets mentioned. Since 1980, only 29 UK cases at the ECHR have involved deportation or extradition, and the UK has won more than half of them, with only 13 rulings against it overall and just 4 tied to family life. And we all know which 4 those were, because they were all over the press. Those weren't the tip of any iceberg, they were ice cubes in a warming, medicinal whiskey. In fact, whilst this was happening, the ECHR helps British people abroad more often than it inconveniences the government at home. But nobody shouts about this on front pages, possibly because it's surprisingly common. Journalists. There's the case of the UK-linked journalist in Azerbaijan who was jailed on bogus charges. The ECHR stepped in, called the whole thing what it was, political nonsense, and forced his release. If you're reporting from a country with touchy politics, this isn't an abstract principle, it's your lifeline. Families. There are parents in the UK whose children were taken abroad during messy separations or custody battles. Foreign courts didn't want to intervene. The ECHR stepped in and made sure UK parents had a legal route to be heard. That kind of thing stops families falling into black holes. People caught up in conflict zones. British families with relatives who vanished in Cyprus and Turkey finally got answers because the ECHR told those governments they couldn't just shrug and walk away. Even British soldiers. When the UK ran detention zones in Iraq, the ECHR forced basic oversight, not to handcuff soldiers, but to stop the government putting them in impossible situations legally and morally. Again, not flashy, but quietly important. Secondly, the ECHR stops really serious mistakes at home too. Every so often, the ECHR leans in and says, "Sorry, but you can't do that. It crosses a line." Examples include people being held indefinitely without proper review, poor investigation into deaths, governments trying to deport people to places where they'd be tortured, illegal surveillance practices, messy asylum procedures that forgot key safeguards. Most of the time, these rulings force departments to tidy things up, not revolutionize anything. It's basically the legal equivalent of a "don't forget your coat, you'll catch a cold" reminder. Annoying, sometimes. Useful, almost always. Thirdly, has the ECHR ever genuinely hindered the UK? Yes, occasionally. To keep this fair, there are some moments where the ECHR has annoyed ministers. High-risk deportations, like Abu Qatada, a case that dragged on because the UK didn't get the right assurances from Jordan about torture. Annoying, yes. Unreasonable, well, if torture is the line we're trying to avoid, probably not. Prisoner voting. This one caused a decade of shouting, but it would have taken the UK about 10 minutes to fix it with a very minimal tweak. Instead, it became political theatre. Military cases. Not everyone loved the court poking its nose into Iraq and Afghanistan, although these were mostly situations the UK created by exercising authority abroad. So yes, the ECHR can be irritating. But even the irritating cases are usually grounded in something pretty basic. Don't torture people, don't hold them indefinitely, don't ignore kids' indecisions, don't cut corners in dangerous situations. It's hardly radical stuff. So why did its reputation tank in the UK if the reality is this mild? This is the bit that suddenly makes everything make sense. The ECHR's reputation was damaged by a perfect storm of immigration rows, foreign judges, headlines, a couple of big terrorism cases and the post-Brexit mood. Ministers needing someone to blame when things went wrong. The public never getting to see the 95% of boring, normal cases that get dismissed, or protect UK citizens. Basically, the ECHR didn't change, British politics did. We forgot we helped build the thing. We forgot why we built it, and we massively overestimated how often it actually tells us off. It's a bit like complaining about speed bumps while ignoring the fact the road used to have accidents every week. It's not heroic. It's not evil. It's just a guardrail. You don't notice it when things go well. You only notice it when it stops you going over the cliff.